Back, Casey Campbell here with Great Lakes Post, and we are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Oakland men's basketball team. Of course, that's Greg Kampe. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's good to be back on campus with people and cars and in some sense of normalcy, not anywhere near 100%, but I feel really good about it.
So before we get into previewing this season, talk about how you navigated last season and to get through it all. Because with everything that happened in the beginning of the season when you guys were shut down for a few weeks, and then starting off the way that you did and then improving as the season went along, just talk about all the things that you had to go through last year.
Well, last year, it was weird because while it was happening, you didn't want to bitch or complain because you're thinking at least you're getting to play, and there's so many people that are out of jobs and their businesses are closed and they're locked at home, and so we're getting the right to play. So it was really hard to complain. But now that it's over, I'd like to complain a lot. It was awful. I mean, it just was awful. From even the schedule of having to play the same team back to back with the same officials to not having any fans in the stands to the testing every day. I mean, we were testing 6 days a week, early in the morning, up the nose type. It was an experience, and when it's all over, you wish it hadn't happened because of what it did to our world. But you're grateful that you survived it, and you're stronger because of it. You understand life more because of it. But it was not. It was, we played on national TV the first game of the season. We played Xavier at noon on the first day of basketball. We were the first game, national TV, and we had 3 days of practice before the game. And as good as I'd like to think that we were or could get kids ready or things like that, it was a disaster to even play that game. And we were down 53-12 or something at halftime. And I mean, it taught me a lot about how important practice really is. After all these years, you start to think, your system, and then you realize something like that. So it was a learning experience for everybody in this country, but especially for our basketball coaches. It was a tough year.
Yeah, for sure. I know. How is this? You got a good group this year. What's it going to be like this year? How is everything kind of going? With move-ins and actual summer workouts and all that fun stuff. How are practices going as we begin to start the season in just a few months?
Well, it's been a good summer. We've been able to get in the arena. We've been able to get our time in, and we've been able to do it unmasked. All our guys are vaccinated, so we do have indoor masking requirements, but while they're on the court, they don't have to. So there is a sense of what it should be or what it used to be out there in practice. We can get after kids. We can, we can get better. Last summer we didn't touch the ball once. I mean, we went the whole summer without being inside. So to get back to summer basketball, which is the developmental stage of we always tell our players this. We say that from September, when the first practice starts, to the last game, that's all about the team. And then from the last game to the first day in September, when we start practice again, it's all about the individual, about you getting better. Everything we do as a coaching staff is for you individually, where from September to the games, it's all for the team. And so to not have that was kind of devastating to some players because they didn't get better. They didn't have a chance to. So getting back to that and really helping and seeing kids get better in the summer, that was really great for me. And I really like my team. I really do. I think we've got a very young, we're going to have like 9 freshmen because we got COVID freshmen now. Our future, if we can keep them here with the transfer portal and all that stuff, our future looks really, really bright. And I really like us. So it was a fun summer just being back in the gym.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You talked about, the 9 freshmen that you have, of course, the COVID freshmen as well, because with the extra year of eligibility. one kind of person that really kind of stood out for me watching you guys last year was how Trey Townsend performed. What does he bring to this team? I know he's had a big family history at Oakland. Of course, his brother plays here. Of course, his parents went here and all that, blah, 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 blah. But what's he like to watch as a coach? What's it like to coach him?
Well, Trey, I mean, I've known Trey since he was 5 years old, probably younger than that. He was in my basketball camp every year from the time he was 7 until he was a senior in high school. Obviously, I have a tremendous relationship with the family and him. His mom's my dentist, so I let her put her hands in my mouth. So I guess, I guess, I knew what I was getting. I thought I did anyways. I told Trey when we recruited him, I didn't think he'd be able to play here until he was maybe a sophomore. If we redshirt him the first year, struggle through the freshman year, and then I hope that he's going to be a major contributor his sophomore, junior, and senior year. Well, we didn't get to practice much, as we said last year, and as we were trying to cram all this in, the one guy that kept getting all the rebounds in practice was Trey. And I'm a big believer in, if you rebound, you play. And I kept telling the team that, and I told him that, and I said, if you just keep doing this, I'm going to play you. So we get ready for the first game, and obviously that first game didn't go very well, but I started him because he had been the best rebounder in practice. And in game 4, we played the University of Michigan, who was a top 10 team. And the first half, Trey was just fantastic in the first half. He just had a great, he scored at will, got a bunch of rebounds, and that kind of set the bar for him for the year. And he had an all freshman team year on a kid that I thought I was going to redshirt and not even play for 2 years. So he proved me wrong, and I'm happy he did. And he got the redshirt because of COVID. So I still have him 4 more years, and hopefully with his history at Oakland and his family ties and our going back together for so long, hopefully he's not someone that would jump in the portal. Hopefully he's someone that's going to carry out his commitment to our university.
Yeah, it should be obviously a lot of family history. Of course, his brother plays on the soccer team too. So it's yeah. You talk about your team this year. I'm literally looking at your roster right now, and a lot. I noticed, like, of course, you mentioned 9 freshmen. Kind of talk about overall your team. What do you have? What do you got? Talk about some of the guys that are going to make a real impact on this team this year.
We have, every great team I've had, we've had size, we've had athleticism, but I think this is a unique team in that we're long and athletic, and it's more of a defensive athleticism than it is an offensive athleticism. I think that it's a team that, while I'm not afraid of scoring, I think it's a team that will be fueled by our defense, by being able to create turnovers and get out and transition and score the ball in a little bit different way than we're used to scoring it here. Jamal Kane at 6'8" and Micah Parrish at 6'6" on the top of that zone are going to cover a lot of ground. And then we're moving Trey from the hoop position out to the wing this year. And so now you've got another 6'7" long athlete on a wing. You got Jalen Moore, who's very intelligent and while he doesn't have great size or length, he has great quickness on the wing. And then we're going to have 3 guys. If we were to start today, I'd tell you that we have a 3-man rotation at the post in Chris Conway at 6'9", Braden Burke at 6'11", 7 foot, and Will Shepherd at 6'8". All 3 of them are different, and they bring something different to the table offensively. And I think all 3 can rebound their area very well, which you have to do at the basket in that zone. I wish one of the 3 were a shot blocker, but none of the 3 are. That's the one area that we don't have in that zone is, we don't have a Keith Benson, Shaney Lawal, or, a guy like we've had in the past that could go up and block shots.
You talk about Braden Burke for a sec, of course, coming from Michigan State. What was it like to welcome him onto this team? Of course, because of course he was with he was with the Spartans and now he's with you guys. What's that? What was that like? What has he been like in practice?
But we're just getting to learn him because he wasn't here in the summer to get him through all the protocol of a transfer. We had to do a waiver because he's a sixth-year player
Right.
and he's a two-time transfer. So he's actually a three-time transfer because he wanted to do his last year at Central Michigan, but he got COVID last year and he got it very badly. He was in the hospital and and then Central changed their coaches. And so he became a free agent and we took him just because we need a veteran big. And, but we had to go through a waiver process and that didn't get done until the end of the summer. So we just started practicing with him in September and I'm learning a lot about him. I knew him because I played against him when he was a freshman at Robert Morris. Well, I didn't play against him. Oakland did. I sat and watched him. I think he would have had a much better game if it was me playing against him. So, I think that what he appears to bring to the table, and it's early results. He can score the ball in the post. All right. And that's good. We need that. And he's big and he can rebound his area and he's an intelligent player. And, teaching him our offense and that it's really early. So that's really all I can tell you about him. I do believe that, as I said, he's going to get minutes. Those three guys are going to share minutes. And I don't think I'd probably play him and Conway together, but Will Shepherd can really shoot the ball. So we could probably even, sub Will for maybe a Trey Townsend and even get bigger. And probably Will, when it's all said and done, Will's going to be our best perimeter shooter. I mean, he's really, really got a gun on him. And, as a freshman, you'll see what happens. But by the time he's out of here, I think he's somebody that could be up there in the all-time percentages because he shoots it that well.
Of course. So going into, I know that also with everything you talk about kind of being, back to normal again, you go and recruits have been able to come back to campus and visit campus. What has that been like and how challenging was it to not have them here?
We actually knocked it out of the park during COVID recruiting. I mean, you look at the players that we brought in here, Jalen Moore, Micah Parrish, this year, Will Shepherd, Mason Gibson, Darius. I mean, we knocked it out of the park in COVID recruiting, and I got some thoughts. They're just thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's any reality to it, but so I would have been happy if COVID recruiting stayed that way forever because we were so successful at it. But we've had kids on campus. I got one coming in from Arizona tomorrow. I have another kid from Arizona coming in next week. I think we have somebody from Texas coming in. We're back to recruiting the old-fashioned way where they actually come on campus and we're spending a lot of money trying to make sure the future is great. We don't have a lot of scholarships to give though because we're so young, as you saw in that roster. But with the portal and with the way things are going, I think nobody can sit there and say they're not going to have scholarships at the end of the year. I think an average of 3 per team go in the portal. So we could have 3 scholarships just like that, and we've got to be prepared.
Yeah. You talk about the portal a little bit. How do you navigate that?
So it's a learning process. I think we're like everybody else. I think there's people that have jumped on it early and are doing a good job. There are other people that are like trying to negotiate their way through it, and then there's people that are saying, no, "I'm not going to be a part of it." And we're going to be a part of it. We're going to try and recruit it. I keep saying that's going to be the way we go, but then we get involved with these high school kids that we really like, and we're hoping that we can convince them to stay here for 4 years. And
Right.
so right now it's going to be a cross between the portal. I mean, in my opinion, we won the portal this year. And we had 6 kids leave, but we got Jamal Kane. And my personal opinion is I think Jamal Kane will be the best player in our conference. I will be shocked if he's not From having coached him now for 3 or 4 months, the last time I felt this way about a transfer was um, Kendrick Nunn, and I think that turned out pretty good.
That did turn out pretty well.
And
Oh,
I think that Jamal Cain is in that same stratosphere. I think Jamal Cain's an NBA player, and we don't get, our league gets NBA players, but not lots of them. And so if Jamal is everything he's been for us in the 8 weeks of this summer and the couple weeks of the fall, I can't believe that there's 2 better players in the league, 3 better. I just can't believe that. And from 9 years in this league, so he's got to do it at the games. But if you were to say to me next year, I'll give you a guy that could be the best player in the league in your transfer portal, but you're going to lose 2 or 3 guys that were, contributors to your team, I'd take that bet every time.
yeah.
And so I believe we won the portal. We lost 2 contributors, we lost 6 guys, but we're bringing in a guy that I think could be the best player in the league.
Yeah. You talk about recruiting, high school players, and a lot of them come from this state, and a lot of them come from the local area. You look at Trey, you look at Brody Parker from Troy, and with the classes that you've had and some of the future classes that are coming in. What do you like about Michigan? What does this area bring? And there's a lot of talent here. And
Yeah, I mean, for years and years, we only had Michigan players, and then, the game has changed. A lot of the good Michigan kids are leaving and going to prep schools and things like that. So I think you have to adapt to anything that happens, and you got to be ahead of the curve in adapting. You can't be the last guy to adapt. And I think we've done a good job of that. We've gone from Michigan based to we've got 3 kids from Texas. We had Xavier Hill Mays from North Carolina. We've had Florida. We've had the key to it is that we're still getting good players from Michigan. We haven't just shut Michigan off. There aren't as many. And one of the things in recruiting is people look at it and they get mad at you because you didn't take a certain kid, and you got to roll with the punches on that. If somebody gets mad at you, they get mad at you. You have to do what's best for your program and for Oakland, and you just don't take a kid because he's from Detroit. You take a kid because he fits your system and can have success. And we've been able to. I mean, Micah Parrish is a perfect example. He grew up in the Inkster area, Ypsilanti. I mean, he bounced around a little bit. And now he's at Oakland, and he did it through a prep school in Arizona, but we got him back. And as you said, Trey Townsend, and we've got the kid from Lansing, the shooter on our team.
yeah,
My mind's going. Names are always hard for me. I can't remember my own kids' names, but Blake Lampman. We got Blake Lampman. Who can really shoot the basketball from the Lansing area. And so we still, I mean, if I had it my way, I'd have all 13 from Michigan, but it's never going to be that way again. So hopefully we'll always have at least 3, 4, 5 from the area. And, but we represent Oakland University, and Oakland University is a university that stretches across the Midwest. So we're going to have a representative team.
And you talk about what the Horizon League is going to look like this year, and you never know what could come out of that. Talking to a lot of coaches, what do you think about this league overall this year?
It's going to be the best it's been in the 9 years that Oakland's been part of it. Now, we weren't here for the Butler years when they would get 2 teams in the NCAA tournament. But if we're ever going to get 2 teams in the tournament, this is probably the year. I just think I think we could be the best we've ever been since we've been in the Horizon League and not even finish in the top 3. I just think the league's going to be that good. You've got Cleveland State with everybody back, Wright State with everybody back, but Loudon Love. Now, yeah, he was the player of the year in the league, but I had Kay Felder, and we had everybody coming back, and Kay went in the draft and we lost him. All right, but we won the league, even though we didn't have him, because you can't discount everybody else. And Tanner Holden is as good a player as there is. Basile, however you pronounce the center's name, is every bit as good a player as there is. the Fink kid can shoot it. They're defensive oriented. The guy's a great coach. The Wright State, yes, they wish they would have Loudon Love, but they're still going to be right there. So you got them, and you got Cleveland State. Detroit is talking like this is going to be the best year they've had since Perry left. Probably, I know they went to the NCAA tournament one year with Ray McCallum and his son, but I think they didn't. I think they finished third or fourth in the league. So they're talking winning the league, winning the tournament. I mean, I think they should be doing that. Again, they got one of the best players in the league, probably the best guard in the league. And maybe the best scorer in the league. And no, maybe they've got the best scorer in the league. And I don't know how good this transfer Harvey kid is they got, but if he's what they talk about, then they could be the best team in the league. So already I've talked about 3 teams, and we haven't even talked about Milwaukee, whose son, the coach, is supposedly a lottery pick, and we don't get lottery picks in this league. So if he comes in and he is lottery pick, they're going to right away be in the top. So now we're at 4 teams, and then we haven't talked about Youngstown, who, I know Jared really well, and Jared's really high on his team. They think they're going to be the best they've ever been. They're going to miss Bohannon a little bit. If he'd have come back, I think they've got some things to prove, but he's a really good basketball coach, and I'm sure that they've got somebody there. So now you're talking there, and you haven't talked about UIC. We haven't talked about Robert Morris, Robert Morris probably won the transfer portal for the country. I mean, nobody got more transfers than they did, and good ones. And so if he can mesh all those people together, you look at Michigan State's football team, and they won the transfer portal for college football, and look what they're doing. And everybody said it would take some time, and look what they just beat Miami at Miami. Yeah. So if you put that same formula together for Robert Morris, maybe Robert Morris is the best team. I know I'm going to put them up there when I vote. And you haven't talked, you're up 6-7 teams. And usually when you look at our league in those 8 years I've been here before, there's tiers. These 2 or 3 teams are going to finish in the top tier. These ones are kind of the middle tier. These ones are kind of the bottom tier. And then there's always one team that steps up a tier. Northern Kentucky a few years ago, you didn't know where they came from, and all of a sudden they finished 4th. They were supposed to finish 9th or something like that. Cleveland State was supposed to be, 9th last year, and they win it. So every year one team comes out of their tier. This year there's no tier. There's just good teams. So yeah, I'm scared as hell about it. I think we could have a great basketball team and go 14-8 in the league.
Yeah.
I probably would take 14-8 right now if they gave that to us. As long as that made us a top 4 team and we had home court advantage in the tournament, I would take 14-8 right now and walk out the door.
Oh yeah. All right. Coming up this season, I know you got the non-conference games, and then heading into the season. What do you want to see out of this team in the first few games of this year?
I want to stay healthy. I want the zone to be what I think it can be. I want Jamal to get comfortable in it, and I want us to get comfortable with him with the basketball in his hands. Jalen getting him the ball in scoring positions, and I want to see him score the ball. I'd like to see either Zion Young or Blake Lampman shoot the ball the way they're capable of shooting it, and I'd like to see the 3-headed center position. I'd like to see each one of those 3 guys accept their role and consume their role and really make a difference. And then the last thing I want to see is I want to see Micah Parrish develop the way that we're all believing that he can.
All right. Greg Kampe, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Good luck this season, and let's have you on again sometime.
Anytime. Would love to be here.